Is LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels a top draft pick, a legitimate NFL quarterback, and a franchise player? Yes, yes, and yes. This is QB Unfiltered, and this is my take. Daniels won the 2023 Heisman Trophy, and deservedly so. But so did Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel. What's the difference between the three? What makes Daniels a surefire selection in this year's draft? Pocket presence, throwing mechanics, extending plays, makes all the throws, especially the deep ball. He's well coached, and he's a leader. I want you to watch Daniels when he drops back to pass, and the first thing that should jump out at you is how smooth and calm he is. Extremely stoic in the pocket. And how this comes into play, or why this is such a great trait for a quarterback, is pockets tend to break down a little bit or a lot. But you get quarterbacks that when the pocket begins to break down just a little bit, they get frantic, their eyes come down to the rush, or they abandon everything in the passing game, put the ball under their arm, and take off running. Look at his footwork in the pocket, not just when he drops and is able to throw in rhythm, but what he does to buy time when he feels pressure. So we're talking about things like shuffling straight back from the line of scrimmage. And Jayden Daniels is one of the few quarterbacks that I've seen on film that does this consistently. And the reason why you want to do that as a QB, when you're trying to buy time, go to your second and third read, if you just stand right where you dropped, your offensive line is going to be naturally losing ground on their pass protection. And pretty soon you're going to have your center or your guards right in your grill when you have to throw the ball. And that's going to affect your delivery. So by doing that controlled shuffle, not talking about a basketball defensive shuffle. We're not talking about a fast shuffle. It's just a nice controlled shuffle. And what he's doing is keeping that buffer zone between him and the offensive line. And then when he goes side to side, okay, sliding in the pocket, I call it pedal and scoot. Side to side, where he's just sliding a step or two to get in a gap to throw the ball, eyes always downfield and calm. Or he'll climb the pocket, go into a second and third read. But however you want to play it, when that pristine environment in the pocket begins to crumble, he doesn't lose his poise. He has great pocket presence. Throwing mechanics are solid. Okay, we talk about the C. So he's got the ball here called ball carriage, tip of the ball, top of the numbers. And then that C is him pushing the ball up and back and then coming through with a delivery. And it's a C motion. And his C is very, very tight. And it's also fast. It's what you call a quick delivery, a fast release, and it's consistent. He basically looks the same every time he throws the ball, and there's no wasted motion. So the ball goes from here, he pushes it up and back, and he's bringing it through and getting it out of his hand. And that's one of the biggest advantages that he has as a quarterback, and one of the biggest pluses that a quarterback gives the pass offense of any offense is getting the ball out of his hand on time. No wasted motion, no looping, slow delivery. It's up and out, up and out. When he's able to take his drop and throw in rhythm, he's got great balance and he throws off a great platform. That gets a lot of quarterbacks in trouble. Accuracy problems are a result of not having good balance when you throw the ball. And there's a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL right now who have sloppy feet, even when they don't have anybody in their face. They've got sloppy feet, weight distribution, and balance. And again, that causes the ball to come out late, but it also causes a lot of accuracy problems. Extending plays. Man, he's going to scare the hell out of every defensive coordinator that he lines up against in the NFL. He's like Lamar Jackson. When he pulls the ball down and decides to run, he might be the fastest guy on the field. And he's got great vision when he runs. He can make people miss, but he's a weapon when he leaves the pocket and decides to take off and go. The other thing with his extending of plays is when he stays behind the line of scrimmage. And as we talked about before, where he's sliding, pedaling and scooting side to side, or shuffling back, controlled shuffle, or climbing. Okay, that's extending plays, or getting out of the pocket, but not running, just rolling out to get out of the way of all that crap, keeping his eyes downfield and delivering the ball. Makes all the throws. He's really accurate with his throws. He does not have the strongest arm in the world, but that's an overrated skill. He is accurate. And at the end of the day, that's the name of the game when you're throwing the ball for a quarterback. But what I'm really impressed with him with his throws are his deep balls. When he throws outside verticals and post routes, I used to call it throwing a three. So I would attach numbers for my quarterbacks on how we describe the throw. So to throw a one is putting the ball on a line, throwing it with some gas and some smoke. And then throwing a two is just put some little loft on it. Okay. A little bit of loft on it. And I'll talk more about twos here in a second. And throwing a three is putting a lot of air under the ball. Anytime you're throwing an outside vertical or a post route, you want to throw a three. And the reason why you do that is if you throw a two, okay, you throw it with a little bit of air, but it's flatter, and you overthrow your receiver, the play's over. He can't catch up to it. If you put air underneath it and you're not perfect with the throw, you overthrow your receiver, he can go get it. He can catch up to the ball and go get it. If you underthrow him, he can slip the DB and go up and high point the rock. But if you throw those posts and those outside verticals flat and you overthrow your receiver, the play is over. Every time that he throws outside verts and posts, he puts air under it and just drops it right in the basket. Now, the other type of throw that he really is awesome at is throwing a two, and he does this down in the red zone. So when you're throwing outside verticals in the red zone, and that could be anywhere from the 20-yard line in, you want to touch it in there and you're throwing the ball to the back pylon, but you're not putting a 1 on it and you're not throwing a 3 on it. You're 2ing it out there to the corner, nice soft little loft, and let your receiver go up and get it. And he's nails throwing this. The other thing that Daniels is really accurate doing is throwing the ball on the run. So obviously, if he's going to use his escapability and keep his eyes downfield, whether he's rolling right or reverse pivoting out and going left, he's able to throw the ball accurately without getting his feet set. Okay, and then I want you to check out this photo right here. This is awesome. I used to call this a GST, grab, stab, and throw. And if you look at Daniels in this picture, he's throwing the ball without the laces. And on GSTs, grab, stabs, and throws, our quarterbacks would throw those on slants, hitch routes, stick routes, bubble screens, punch screens, where we just got the snap, stood up, and threw it. And Daniels is doing that on this throw. Now, what that tells me is he's playing in a pass offense or has played in a pass offense where that's part of his skill set, which is really good for a quarterback. There are a lot of QBs out there in the NFL that can't do what he's doing in that picture. Now, they can throw the ball without the laces, but they can't throw it accurately and with the spiral. Then you see these QBs that will get the snap and the ball has to be out of their hand like that, and they spend time or waste time spinning the ball in their hand to get the laces on the fingers to throw it. That's just another skill set that he has. Okay, Jayden Daniels is well coached at LSU. This comes from Joe Sloan, the quarterback coach, and the little subtle things that he does with his mechanics and his pocket movement. We talked about how he reverses out when he's escaping to the left. We talked about the controlled shuffle when he's buying time in the pocket. We talked about sliding or scooting and pedaling side to side to buy time. Also, there are clips where he feels a little bit of pressure coming from one side and he'll turn the ball away from that pressure so that we don't have anybody swiping at it, and then get that thing loaded right back up on the shelf and ready to throw. These are all things that are coached and drilled in practice, and you can tell that he's well coached. His mechanics and his fundamentals are spot on. Also plays in a great pass offense at LSU, and he goes through his read progressions. Okay, I've said this in the show I did on the Combine, But there are quarterbacks that come into the NFL with a leg up on every other quarterback because of the scheme and the system that they played in college, where your quarterback has to go through pre-snap reads in his mind and then post-snap reads to tell who he's throwing the ball to, and have his progression rules where he's going 1 to 2 to 3 to check down, or 1 to 2 to check down. Okay, that is the mark of a QB friendly offense. Okay, leadership. Now, all you have to do is talk to his teammates or listen to how his teammates describe him, or listen to the coaching staff and what they say about him. Coaches have said things like his teammates follow him because of his toughness. Okay, he's physically tough, and that's huge at the quarterback position. He is so prepared, and that rubs off on the rest of his teammates. All right, and then they took a vote. They voted on team captains this year, and his teammates gave him the most votes of anybody on the team. And that speaks volumes about him. Okay, he's not a boisterous leader. What he is cool, calm, and he leads by example. Okay, the coaches talk about him being in the football office at 5 a.m. to watch game film. That's leadership skills right there. That rubs off on teammates, and that also gives his teammates total confidence in their starting quarterback. He's going to carry that stuff into the NFL. It's important to him to be good, and it's important to him to be a leader of his team. Okay, miscellaneous experience. He is a 4-year starter. He's started 55 games in his college career. He's not going to be wowed by anything that he sees in the NFL. He's lined up in pressure situations and pressure games. He's played in front of huge stadiums and huge crowds. You know, he's prepared. He's got experience. He excelled in the Pac-12. I can remember watching him as a freshman at Arizona State, and I didn't know who he was, but the first game I watched him, I went, wow, this guy's got it. Okay, and then he takes his game to the SEC, which is arguably the most competitive, top-notch conference in the country, and he lit it up. And he lit it up this year, and he did it against great defensive people and really good defensive coordinators. He wants to be good. It's important to him. All the things that he does off the field and on the field and behind the scenes tells you that he wants to be good. And that's really, really important. His priorities are where they should be. And last but not least, and one of the aspects that you cannot measure in all this testing they've got at the combine, and that is his character. And he is low maintenance. He's low maintenance. You don't hear about him, or you don't read about him on off the field incidents. And that's a huge plus to any franchise that's going to draft him. Okay, what are my concerns on Jayden Daniels? I've only got one, and that is he needs to protect himself and preserve his body. So, you know, we talked about what a dual threat he is and what a huge weapon, scary weapon he is when he pulls the ball down and runs. I don't think we're going to see him running the ball as much in the NFL as he did in college. Can't. But the one thing that he really needs to do, and I'm sure he will, is he needs to reduce his surface area when he's about to get hit. There were where he's running the ball, and at the point of contact, he raises his chest up about as high as humanly possible and just gets lit. He can't do that in the NFL. He's going to get broken in two. That's the only concern I have. What are the NFL front office concerns? Well, it's the old Tom Brady 2000 combine picture without a shirt on concern. He's too skinny. Okay, this guy was too skinny too, and he turned out to be okay. So what's the difference between three Heisman Trophy winners: Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow, and Jayden Daniels. Well, it's game film. Game film. With Johnny Manziel, all you got to do is put the game film on from Texas A&M, and he was playing street ball. He was playing pickup football. He was Johnny football. Make a play, be exciting, run around, make something happen. But what you didn't see on game film is you didn't see him in a structured, styled offense where he took his drop, went through his read progressions, and delivered the ball to the right guy. Still won the Heisman Trophy, but he wasn't built for the NFL. Just wasn't built for the NFL. Tim Tebow, he has everything that you were looking for in a quarterback. Everything. Except when you put the game film on and you look at his passing game skills. Tim Tebow was not a good thrower. He didn't have the mechanics. He just didn't have it. It was just a glitch in his game, and it really hurt him in the NFL. Jayden Daniels doesn't have any weaknesses as far as I can see. He's the total package going into this draft, and that's why he's going to be a high draft pick and a success and a star in the NFL. Okay, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to check out my take on Michael Penix Jr. This is QB Unfiltered, and remember, always throw the ball short to guys who can score. See ya.